All right. Evening, everybody. As is our tradition here, I'm going to call this meeting to order. This appears to be the June 26, 2018 meeting of the Kennebunk Light and Power District Board of Trustees. And this is our first meeting on video recording, which Todd will speak to you about shortly after I go through the agenda. So just everyone be aware that we are recording. So we'll go through the agenda quickly. We have a couple of meeting minutes to approve. One was deferred because we didn't have enough people to vote on it last time, given attendance for the prior meeting. We'll review the financials and the financial position estimates, that is the cash estimates going forward, items 4 and 5. Item 6 on the agenda is a quick revisiting and review of the post-road memorandum of understanding, which has to do with the high-speed fiber optic opportunity for this district. The next item, item 7, is a discussion of the historic designation filing for Kesselin Dam. Item 8, board consideration of LD 1095. This is a bill that's passed through the legislature and is sitting on the governor's desk at this point that may have relevance to us. Then the general manager's report. He will cover several items, including past board meeting requests, the America First Hydro study plan summary of the visit, as they came to visit the site last week, or was it earlier? This was last week. Update on the substation planning. Give me Duffy. Update on, we're just going through the agenda at this point. Update on aspen tree trimming. Update on FEMA October storm process. Hydro operations update. And the solar array progress report and contract revision update, all from the general manager under item 9. Under item 10, board discussion and direction to the general manager on strategic plan, draft topics. And item 11, the public comment period, which we have in every meeting for 15 minutes. Then we'll just refresh on when our next meetings are, and any items that trustees would like to see on the next agenda can be raised at that time or afterwards, directly with me or with the general manager. So that's what we have on the agenda for tonight. We're going to try and get done by 8:10 or earlier as per the agenda. And let me just turn to Todd, who can perhaps update everyone on the status of the video monitor.
I'll just let you know that this is our test. The video is up and running. Blake's going to make sure that everything's operational. What's going to happen for now is the meetings will be recorded. They'll be uploaded to the YouTube channel, KLPD YouTube channel, and go to the website. We'll still keep, for the time being, we'll still keep minutes in the same manner that we do. Kathleen's asked me to keep recording because it's easier for her to do minutes with the recording. So long as everything works, that will be a monthly occurrence. Whenever we have a meeting, it'll be recorded and then uploaded more than likely the next day to the YouTube channel. There's already a link there on our website for that channel with the FERC videos that have been uploaded there. So is it nothing different than any other meeting, just we're on TV?
Well, not really TV yet.
Well, we're on
streaming.
We'll be not really streaming either. We'll be
on demand.
On demand. Yes.
Right,
if you go to our website and you demand the video, you'll be on it.
You'll get it. All right. Anybody have any questions or items on that? All right. Let's move on to the minutes then of both March 27 and May 29. Let's take March 27 first.
I need Duffy, Bob, and Dan to weigh in on this one. They were the 3 attendees at that meeting.
I have no changes to them as presented.
No. All right. Let's have a motion to accept then, please.
Second.
Okay.
Second
from Bob. All those in favor? You 3 are the only voters, I think. Okay. Great, thank you. Let's go to the May 29th meetings agenda. I have no changes for it. Does anyone have anything they'd like to?
No.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of May 29th.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor? Great. Thank you very much. Let's move to the financials. Will you be presenting the financials to us
I will.
today?
I will.
In the absence of our business manager?
Yes, as stated, Matt has a family obligation. I had to let him go.
Not permanently?
Not permanently. So on the revenues page, expenses, the comment from Matt was there was no single item of significance for the general plan operations. The actual was $45,427. The budgeted was $55,263. Same with customer accounting, administration, and other expense. There were no significant expenses that needed to be expounded upon as per Matt. If there's any questions on page 1, I can entertain those now. Now we'll go to page 2, which is the revenues. I was asked to call out to you that, if I can get to the page here, so the power expense is greater than the revenue expense in May. That is, on average, we have a 6% line loss each month. And the amount that we charge, although it's higher than what we pay to offset the expense, you'll see that it just about balances itself out, $102 difference in the month of May. We are working to more fine-tune those line losses. Line losses are the actual loss of energy as it goes from the substation to the transformer, as well as keeping those transformers warm. Line losses tend to be a little higher in the wintertime because transformer sitting idle is still using energy because it has to keep itself warm so that it's ready to be used when it's not being used in full capacity. So if there's any questions on this revenues page, I can answer them now. And if not, we'll move to the next page. Financial position, which is in line with where we expected to be. We're doing a little better than May 2017, as well as fiscal year 2017. We are selling a little more power, and we're doing pretty well with the rate increase. Then, any questions on this page? Next page is the financials for delinquent accounts, which are heading in a better direction. We're about, I know I've been saying this for a while, we're about 30 days away from accepting credit cards. We'll see what kind of an impact that has on us. We're also working more aggressively with the collection agency to be able to collect some of these overdue accounts. That seems to be working pretty well. Total days of cash on hand is 55. That's all equalized. That is all unrestricted cash that we have available on hand. And we were 332,000 kilowatt hours higher this year than we were last for sales in May. Any questions on?
I just wanted to ask something about the cash balance.
Yes.
I know that we're shooting for a target of 90 days of cash on hand.
Yes.
So that's good, and we seem to be making consistent progress towards getting in a bit stronger business position in case we have some kind of emergency or unexpected event.
Yes.
So that's great. That money also needs to cover us for the variability in the timing of the payments to NextEra for electricity as well. Is that right? Because sometimes our balance has gone strikingly down just for a few moments because of the timing.
Those days are over. I mean, we have the cash on hand now tempers that blow.
Right.
When I first started
But if
here,
we were to pay twice in a month, which occasionally we do,
yeah.
it would draw that number down considerably.
We never pay twice in a month.
We don't?
No, it's always due on we get the invoice on the 10th of the month, and it's due on the 20th of the month.
So
no
why
matter
was
what.
it that we were having, was it
We didn't have the cash flow. So in the past, it was a collection issue. We would have to wait for the next 2 cycles to pay their bills before we could pay the NextEra invoice, and we don't run into that anymore.
Great.
Last month we had a 30, this month we have a 37,
Yeah.
and the month before that we had a 49. So
Yep.
how do you explain that variation?
That I can't explain at the moment.
Talk to Matt.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll bring that up at the next
I
meeting.
can bring that back next
Okay.
time. Any others? Want to take us to the next page?
I'll take you to the next page. Past due accounts are holding steady. Days of cash are increasing. And our goal obviously is 90 days on days of cash, and I wouldn't say we have a goal of no past due accounts because I think that's unreasonable, but we continue to try to attack those past due accounts as best as we can.
Be interesting to see what credit cards do.
Exactly. Passing the buck, right?
When you use a credit card, do we get charged for that?
You will get charged a fee based on what the company charges. So it's typically 2 to 3%.
Right.
And I've spoken to a few customers about it. Some people are just interested in their points. They want airline miles. They want points for this, points for that. And the 2 or 3% didn't seem to deter them. But that's how the justification of not absorbing that cost is, at least in my past experience in municipal, was that people that are paying cash are subsidizing people that are using credit cards. So you need to take the responsibility if you're going to use a credit card.
So they're gonna pay the extra amount?
They are going to pay, and they will have to acknowledge the fact that that amount is going to be charged to them before they can make that payment.
Got it.
And we are also implementing in that scheme. There's also, we've just activated the paperless billing available for our customers that we're testing now. It ran some issues with our software, so they're fixing those issues so that when we go live, we'll have a new bill format. We'll have the ability to opt out of paper bills and also to pay with a credit card or debit card.
Do you still get charged with the debit card?
You do. It's a different, I think it's $1.95 flat fee. I'm not
Okay.
positive, but debit card I think is $1.95 flat fee, and then credit card is a 2 or 3% fee depending on the credit card you use.
And the electronic checking is no charge,
No charge.
directly from your bank account.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And people can also call us with a routing number and an account number, and we don't charge for that either.
Okay. I think the last item is the hydro statement of activity.
Yeah, hydro activity, as you can see here, year to date, we have generated, where's Matt's kilowatt hours on here?
Before.
38,000.
Right here, year to date, 813,700, no, I'm
That's
sorry,
budget, yeah.
571,700 kilowatt hours, and we will address anticipated generation in a later agenda item.
Great. I guess we did have one more, I'm sorry, are there any comments or questions on that?
Is it, we'll maybe bring this up to Matt, but can we break out the supplies, the maintenance from the supplies?
Sure.
Okay, because I think some people like to know what the maintenance, what we're spending on maintenance.
Absolutely.
Any other? So that leaves us with a cash flow projection. I think,
Yes, that is the next agenda item on here that Matt's provided. What we've done is we have assumed steady, I believe our typical assumption is a 1% increase in sales every year. We've gone with the 5-year average on capital contributions, a 5-year average of subtracting bad debt, 5-year average on capitalized labor, and a 5-year average on asset additions. So at the end of 2018, we're anticipating to be in the ballpark of $1.6 million in reserve. And at the end of 2019, same assumptions, we're anticipating about $2.3 million in reserve. And that's being conservative with our assumptions on increased revenue, increased sales, as well as interest rates that tend to fluctuate through our bank accounts and that sort of thing.
The $360,000 depreciation, which keeps on rearing its face up to us.
Yep.
This is like a number that we can pick out and say 360, right?
It's a number that was picked out quite some time ago, yeah.
So
Been there as long as I've been here.
Yeah.
is it a way maybe we can get a professional operation in here and have them go through all our assets and get it on paper?
Yep, absolutely.
At least we know what we got going around.
Yeah, there is conversation about that coming up in a later agenda item. That's what we plan to do. Chuck is updating what we have in our computer system and electronically what's available to us so that we can get a firm to come in and use industry standard numbers to be able to apply to what we have in the field.
I think it's time to clean the house on this.
Yeah. But the first estimate we got was $40,000 to $45,000. We're trying to whittle that down by doing some of the work in-house. But we will be cleaning house on that, yes, sir.
So if I'm not mistaken, that is one of the goals that we approved.
That is correct.
The 2 board meetings ago, that's on our list to achieve this year, so.
Yeah.
Well, last meeting, I think I heard it, was that we were gonna do it ourselves, that's why.
We're gonna do
Glad you raised it.
We're gonna do the internal work, the tallying of the inventory, the tallying of the assets in-house, and then bring that to somebody who does this on a regular basis. Well, not on a regular basis, but somebody that's qualified to do our asset schedule for us.
So
They'll take our numbers and tell us, this is where you need to be, or this is where you're supposed to be.
they'll figure out the price on the inventory?
They will.
Okay. Got it.
So, I mean, we've talked about it before, and there've been obstacles that have gotten in the way, and it hasn't gotten done, and I think what we're hearing from Dan, and I think we all agree with this, is that it's time that we get it done this year according to our goals. That's why we set the goals, and Todd recommended the goal. I think everybody's on the same page, we need to get it done. So we're not working with a historic average, but we're actually working with what we have for assets and how depreciated they are and what their anticipated life really is.
It would be nice to know what we're worth.
But
Yes.
It really would be.
It would be, yes. And I have a question for you on the cash flow
Yes.
item also. The 2.3 million projected unrestricted cash balance for the end of 2019.
yes,
What does that represent in terms of our target of 90 days?
30,000 a day, so that's 3 million, so we're getting
So
closer.
we're getting closer. So presumably then, things continue to go well and we don't
2020 will be
upset the
there.
apple cart, we'll be there in 2020.
Absolutely.
Hey, one question on this.
Sure.
On the operation income for 2019, how do you figure the difference between that and 18? 175,000.
That'll be a full year of it, the increased rates that we just passed
Okay,
on. So
okay.
this
Thank
was
you.
a half a year, this will be a whole
Right.
year.
I understand.
Does anybody use that solar station, charging station?
It's been a while. They used to use it, I mean, there'd be 2 or 3 people that would work there, use it at least once or twice a week. And lately, I don't know if they started working somewhere else or they just disappeared, but I haven't seen anybody in there in a while.
Does the one at the chamber get used?
I don't think that one has either. I mean, I go through, on my way to work in the morning, I cut through that back lot. I've never seen anybody at that one, and
No
it's
way
been
to
a while.
report
since-
on it though?
We do, the chamber, I don't know if we do, but we can have a report from this.
I
But
used
I
to see
haven't-
someone in the chamber one often, but I haven't
Yep.
recently.
There used to be a Chevy Volt, a Nissan Leaf, and another, not sure what the other one was, that would use ours regularly, and I don't know if they've stopped working or they've gone to a different kind of vehicle, because I haven't noticed. I mean, I come through here on the weekends and things, and I don't notice people in there.
I saw one person, the same car, like maybe several years ago.
Yeah.
Here, all the time.
Yep, yep.
And then I haven't seen anybody.
No, there was a rotation of them for when I first started, for at least a few years, and it's probably been since January or December since I've noticed anybody there religiously.
Did we pay for that?
We got grant money to pay for that through the American Public Power Association.
So are we free to do what we want with it, or
I'd have to look into if there's any. You mean?
maybe a hotel would want it?
Yeah. Well, I can fast forward to that. There are, northbound just came online, 8 Tesla charging stations that we helped install, and tomorrow they're finishing southbound, and Tesla's coming to commission 8 more on the southbound. There are 8 Tesla charging stations, and then there will be, it's my understanding in the future, 4 non-Tesla charging stations, but Tesla's actually coming out Thursday to commission those units. So there's more and more. I don't know if that has anything to do with why we don't see ours anymore.
Well, maybe
Or they had
to
them installed
satisfy
at home, or-
the question that's been raised.
Do we make money on these charging stations?
We do not. Well, we
produce
sell the
it.
power.
We sell the power, and that's the only,
Yeah, that's all we do. Well, we installed it, so we got paid for the installation, the equipment, and then we sell per kilowatt hour. And then I guess if you have a Tesla model above the Model 3, you get a Tesla card that you get to charge for free, and if not, you have a Tesla card that you have to pay per kilowatt hour when you charge. I never realized that's how that worked, but you can't just go charge for free.
And I think what I heard is that we'd like to have a little bit more data on what's going on with them, because maybe there's an opportunity to do something more effective with them. So if you could follow up with that for the next.
Yeah, would we know monthly how
Would you wanna
much?
be able to charge a car?
I mean, a lot of them are doing it.
Yeah, so we might be able to sell it.
The Port Inn has them now,
Yep.
so most of the motels are putting them in
And
now.
if you go online, you can actually see where they are. All of them, not just R2, but everything nearby.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Great. I think we can move on. This would be item 6. Can you update us on the Post Road Memorandum of Understanding and see if there's anything that can be done?
Well, if, I
Maybe
didn't,
take back scroll back just a little bit so that if you could, just take 30 seconds and summarize for us what the item is. We have at least one board member who wasn't here at the last meeting, members of the public who weren't here as well. So.
Post Road was sort of, what's the word? Testing kind of program for Harvard University and the Rockefeller Foundation. They were testing the waters on communities that were interested in more telecommuting lifestyles, more fiber optic use, social benefits of fiber optics in communities that had they were underserved populations for fiber optic availability, as well as consumer-owned electric utilities was an item that they were really interested in working with, because they didn't want to benefit investor-owned. I worked with Post Road preliminarily just to try to help them integrate a consumer-owned into their offering. They came back, they told us that KLPD qualified, but we needed $10,000 to match the grant that would have, Sanford had a $10,000, they were included $10,000 from Sanford, $10,000 from KLPD, would have gotten us a feasibility study for fiber optics in Kennebunk, as well as Sanford in the corridor that connects us.
The value of total value of
$200,000.
So $180,000 grant.
Yeah. Prior to the ability, at the last meeting, I was told $5,000 was okayed. $5,000 was asked to be requested of the town of Kennebunk. I never got to the town of Kennebunk because I was informed the next day from Post Road that KLPD didn't qualify because they wouldn't ante up the $10,000. There was some skepticism. They weren't sure if we were interested in moving forward, and so unfortunately KLPD was kind of left in the lurch and left behind in the dust. So there's potential for future. There are going to be other grant availabilities in the future, but this evening, I have to tell you that according to my conversations with Senator King and Post Road, the ship has sailed. If there were any vote this evening, I think it would just be ceremonial, and I'm not sure that it would get us to the end game that we're looking for, unfortunately.
To me, this looks like a function of the town, though.
Well, they didn't. I didn't get into the specifics as to why they didn't include the entirety of the town of Kennebunk. But this is, the town was involved initially in the conversations, and then I think budgeting came up or something led the town away from being involved in the conversations. And unfortunately, that's how it landed, and that's where we end up, is KLPD.
Did you guys read that article in the Journal?
Yeah.
Which one?
It's all about Sanford's.
Yeah. That's
I didn't read it, so
Yeah.
if you're going to introduce it, let's hear what it's about.
It's about their RFP for broadband. They're going to roll out their own. This is independent of Post Road. They were doing this anyway. And
It started in 2015.
yeah, I didn't read the whole article. It said that they had to make up some additional cash from the general
Yeah, like $1,250,791.
above what they anticipated.
No, it was $400,000 above.
Okay.
But it was going to cost Sanford a
Yeah.
total of 1.25 mil.
Yeah.
Once or every year.
No, once. but-
Once. That's to
And they only
build it out.
got, well, they got about $760,000 in federal money.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to read that.
maybe Yeah, sure.
That's kind of why we tried to get Sanford in and, jump into the conversation, but like I said, unfortunately.
Well, I'd like to
we didn't make
float
it any
something
further.
with you and with the board, and maybe it will prove fruitless, but I'd like to suggest it anyway, and if you guys think it makes sense, we can go ahead, and if not, we won't. But my thought was, we haven't gotten a definitive letter from them saying that we didn't win this grant. It's been a kind of a casual, my perception is that on their part, it's been a kind of a casual conversation. They didn't say your deadline is X, and now we've got indirect word, it sounds like, that the ship has sailed. I'd like to see us, and I would make a motion essentially to do this, approve the $10,000 for the feasibility study if they're willing to reconsider, and then send them a letter saying that the board has approved it. We can still go after the town to participate, but at least show them we're serious about this. I think it's a really good opportunity, and I was quite disappointed when I heard from Todd that this was gone, and I think none of us anticipated. I think it was a great idea when we decided to try and share the costs with the town, and none of us anticipated that the
So you
next
didn't
day it
speak to
would
the town
kill
at
it.
all?
Jay, I
sorry,
think, might have spoken to some EDC people, or I didn't have the ability to go to the town and say, can we, because they told me it's too late.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I know that I did have a conversation in passing with a couple of people at the town about this opportunity, and, they seemed interested. So we know Blake Baldwin is very interested and has been outspoken about it, and as well as economic development folks seem to be interested. So there's nothing new there, but we didn't even get to ask. So, I mean, I would like, I'd like to make a motion, and you can vote it up or down, that KLPD Board of Trustees approve $10,000 matching funds for the Post Road Foundation feasibility study. And I have a copy for you, Todd, I can give it to you, to make it easier. As proposed to KLPD and discussed at last month's meeting, to include Sanford and KLPD to leverage $10,000 from Sanford and $180,000 of grant money, subject to final negotiation of the contract by the general manager and subject to its final approval by the board. And also that the general manager immediately send by email and regular letter to the Post Road Foundation, apologizing for the delay in our response and acknowledging that we may be responding too late, but confirming that the board has voted to provide the matching funds as described in this motion. So that would be my motion. Be looking for a second if you want to discuss it.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay.
I just have a few questions. I wasn't here
I know.
last month. Where are we looking to take that $10,000 from?
That would be out of the general, the undesignated reserve balance.
Daily money, as we put it last time.
Thursday.
Out of the money that flows into the coffers every day.
That would be out of the reserve, undesignated reserve.
And what is that line item now? Is it in our financial report?
Well, it's projected to be 1.6 million at the end of the year.
Yeah.
What is it today?
All right, so it's not going to affect.
Unrestricted cash is 1.187 million.
And then this would be staying in line with discussions that we've had over the past year or so of trying to think outside the box and try to find other revenue sources.
Yes,
Because we're
absolutely.
looking to do the feasibility study for fiber optics throughout the entire town.
Yeah,
Because currently we just have it on the Route 1 corridor.
correct. Route 1 corridor, and there's a spur that goes to the high school, and there's a spur that comes here and goes to the water district, but pretty much down Route 1.
And so is the study there to provide information back to us for what that cost would be to do that? And how are we in conjunction with Sanford with this?
That Post Road made that connection. I think it's because of the natural, where that Route 99, that interconnection point where we're so close. We have the consumer owned they were looking for, and Sanford was kind of moving forward with the fiber optics. And so I think that's how they naturally kind of melded us together. And what the feasibility study would pay for is determining if there is a need in the area, a perceived and an actual need, the best types of, would it be public-private, would it be a private, would it be all KLPD, would it be all Sanford? Would we lease space? It would be the most cost-effective ways, and then where the monies may be able to come from, if there would be grants available or federal loans, things like that. So it would do all of the dirty work that we haven't done in the past, that we've discussed, but we just haven't had the money to do it.
So, yeah, okay. So that's going down to what we were looking to do anyways. So-
And I think maybe you just said this, but the foundation has a broader array of a network of companies, investors who are interested in partnering with public entities to put in capital. So should we get past feasibility, and if the thing actually looks like it makes sense to us and would be good for business and ratepayers would like it, and it would bring some, some potential for economic development to the community using our assets, our poles and so on, then there might even be, the plan would be that there would be private capital available as well, should we not want to bite the bullet ourselves. But it would all be subject to whether the feasibility makes sense. And I think right now it just seems like a great, candy cane, but it's hard to know without a lot more data.
And it would be another
How viable it is.
study that would follow after, which might cost us more money.
Right. We don't,
What's that, Dan?
Well,
Well,
the-
go ahead.
At the end of the feasibility study, then there's another round of grant money available for implementation of the plan. At that point, KLPD would have to say, yes, we're interested, and we would have to commit. We don't know what, maybe another 10% match. I'm not sure what that would be. But there is another round that would be the final plan and moving forward with developing the fiber. So this is the feasibility stage, and then there's additional stages where it would actually be built. But
We'd probably have to have a report on whether it would make money or not make
Correct,
money.
absolutely.
And how much it would be and all that, and that would cost.
yeah. Well, the feasibility would tell us if it was even an option, and then moving forward, it would get more in depth.
Right.
But I don't have any of the details of what those next rounds look like.
So we're spending 10,000 for,
But we all do have a pretty good scope of
Yes.
what the 10,000, the 200,000 that we'd contribute 10 to, which was in the board packet for last month.
I have no problem with it, spending the 10,000, it's just that we have a lot of other things we gotta spend our money on
Yeah.
that have to get done.
I still think it's a town function. I mean,
You know.
they're the guys that make Kennybunk what it is. And the other guys are, if they wanted more investment in here, they should be doing it. And basically our job is just to hang the pole, the wires, and charge them rent. I mean, I think we're going beyond our scope here. I really do. So, in my opinion. And I don't think we have the money. I think we have a 37-day supply. Last month was 30. I think we gotta watch our money, to be honest with you. Mr. Frugality.
We need a voice of frugality.
Sorry.
Other comments on this? Yeah, I think we can vote on it if there are no further questions or comments. Again, I would say that I think we do have the money. I think it has great potential. It's an opportunity in hand. Maybe it won't give us anything. Maybe it'll just wave the flag that next round we're going to be taken seriously. I do agree with you that we should engage the town, and that's why I changed my motion last time, with suggestions from the audience as well as from the board, so that we could do that, to engage the town.
Now, I don't think it would have passed if it wasn't gone to the town first. That was a good,
It was great.
what Beth brought up.
Good
Definitely.
suggestion.
Not very.
So, any further discussion? Can I call the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
2. Opposed? 3. It fails. Thank you very much for entertaining that. Let's move on to the next item. Discussion of the historic filing for Kesslin Dam. I asked that this be on the agenda. I know, Scott, that you've brought it up, as well as Dan, on a couple of occasions over the last maybe 4 or 5 months, and have deferred it. And as I've thought about it, I thought that we should at least have a discussion about what we do and don't know about any filing that might be made for historic designation for Kesslin or any other dams or assets for that matter that we have. I think it's important that we discuss it if any third party is considering filing for historic designation. And so I'd love to have an update from anyone who knows anything about it as to where that stands.
Well, what I know about it is there's a person that wants to file, and they have to get our permission to file for the state of Maine historic register. Not a preservation, it's a register.
Okay.
And as I understand it, and that person has to work Tuesday nights, Paula, and hopefully next
What's the
meeting.
last name?
I can't remember.
Hoffman.
Paula
Hoffman.
Hoffman, I thought it was Hoffman, yeah. Paula Hoffman. I have never met her. I've just spoke with her.
Hoffman. I was just asking them to clarify that it was Hoff, H-O-F-F.
Planning to address the board on what your concerns are, what she wants, and what she needs from us, hopefully in July.
Okay, so it would come to us. before
I don't think
anything
she
would
can
be
file unless we agree.
We have to sign.
Okay.
We're
Thank
the
you.
owners of it.
That's helpful. That's more information than we had before, and that's good to know. I mean, I was just
The
concerned that,
paperwork was done actually 2009. So, I mean, it's been filed for a long time ago.
filed,
Well, not filed, but
prepared.
Begun.
prepared, yes. That's
By
Long word.
this person, Paula?
The only thing I know about historic registers or anything like that, my sister owned the Garrison House in Wells, and she sold it. And then the person came in, and first thing he wanted to do is to destroy the house. And she had, it was on the National Historic, and because there's another section of land next to her that you have to update with historic monument there for that garrison. And the town said, you don't want to destroy it, go ahead and destroy it. And she fought and got chased to move it across the street, and Mike took it, Mike's restaurant, and he uses it for his workers. But I don't think it has any designation in whether something's going to be preserved or not. Yeah, it's up to the owners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. My concern is simply this. We have not yet as a board made any decisions about what we think should be done with the dams. There's an ongoing FERC process. At some point, we're going to be engaged again, whether in negotiations with America First Hydro or with our community and with our board about what to file, because either we or America First Hydro is going to have to deal with FERC as far as what happens with the dams. And I do not want us to be in a position where we have additional regulatory restraints on what we can choose to do, or additional potential costs on what we or America First Hydro might choose to do before we even know.
Well, maybe she can answer those questions.
Yeah, that would be great.
If I can get in touch with her and ask her, these are some of the concerns, so you can research it and let us know.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. I would I'd be happy to defer this until she can attend next month, or someone can gather better information from her for the meeting.
I mean, this might take a couple meetings.
I mean, I would be inclined to have the board clearly state that we don't support a historic designation before such time as we figured out what we're going to do with the dams. And the reason for that, again, is it may add costs and unnecessary regulations and rules to us in our flexibility. And I don't think this, with regards to the very challenging and significant debate in the community about to keep the dams or not to keep the dams, I think this cuts both ways. It doesn't favor one or the other. And I do think that it doesn't favor the ratepayers if it encumbers us with additional rules and costs before we've made our decision. And I would, if we decided to keep the dams, at that point, I would see potentially no drawback. What if there were a compromise that we worked out that enabled us to preserve some of the things that some of the folks in town love the most upstream, at the same time as enabling fish passage and some other restoration that some of the other folks in town want, and would satisfy our ratepayers with not boosting up the cost? And that involved changing the dam structures, just as a for example. And then we said, oops, we got a historic designation, we can't touch these dams. Now they're either here or they're down. I think it could really tie our hands in many ways, and that's why I would like to bring this to the board for a vote at the appropriate time. And I'm happy to wait till we get some more information, but I'd like to see us get it, what's available, fairly soon. So I'm happy to defer it till the next meeting. Is that okay?
Sure.
So you're saying basically,
think
just
so, yeah.
summarize it, like,
Get all the information we can.
I think we should understand what the implications would be, whether someone can file independently of us, we should know that for sure. And if this can be filed without our permission, I think we should take a proactive position against it until such time as we've decided what to do with the dams. So let's defer it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8, we have an interesting bill that was provided in your packet. Both houses of the legislature, with strong bipartisan support, have voted in favor of forming a commission. And the purpose of the commission was essentially, they described it as establishing an act to establish the Maine Coastal Risks and Hazards Commission, whose purpose is to develop and recommend objectives, strategies, legislation and rules, and other actions to address and prepare for coastal and coastal watershed hazards, including increased storm surges, extreme weather events, projected sea level rise, increased river flooding, and stormwater runoff, and the risks such hazards pose for municipalities, the coastal economy, and state assets. That's a short summary of the bill that seems to have very strong support. It's waiting at the governor's desk, and I think it would be great to have such a commission. I think they could do some of the legwork that we've kind of flagged in our strategic planning process, as there can be some threats to our physical assets, our substation, for all of the reasons that were mentioned. And I think it would be good to have a state agency helping to focus attention and gather information, so that when we make plans about how to invest our capital in our public assets, that we have the best information possible. And I do, obviously, I believe, as does the legislature, that we're facing increased risks here. So I'd love to see us support this bill and this policy direction in the state.
how did this get on the agenda?
I asked for it to be on there.
Okay.
Well, I don't know why we need to get into politics, but I did look at the vote, and I don't know if you want to call it overwhelmingly, 7 Republicans voted for it, the rest were Democrats, for the passage of it, 86 to 58, with 7 absentee votes, and most of those were Republicans absentee. And it passed 86 to 58. So, if I had been there, I probably would have voted for this.
Yeah.
But I don't know why we as Kennebunk Light and Power need to get anything into politics. We've got enough breathing down our necks right here in politics in our town than to step out there. Maybe the town needs to get involved in this, because it really affects them.
When I saw it, I actually forwarded it to them.
And you know, it might have, in your email you mentioned that the substation, we talked about that washing out. Well, I mean, if the substation washes out because of the ocean, the town's got a lot more problems than that substation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid there will be. Essentially, there will be.
I would worry more about something, coming downstream on a flooded event of flooding
Yeah.
and taking out
That.
Rogers Pond and then, coming up and maybe taking out the banks around the substation and then,
Yeah.
losing that.
No, I
From an
think- I-
engineering point, that's how, but for the water to get up to the transformer level.
And that is part of this commission, actually, is what.
Yeah, I agree, and but I don't know if
Well, I'm
it's
fine.
for us to
I'm fine
do
if we
this.
don't do this. I brought it up, and I don't see it as politics. I understand
Yeah.
why people might. I see it as a public policy question. And there are a number of, we're members of DIRIGO, which is an association of, consumer-owned utilities. There are 8 or 9 of them around the state. And we've taken positions on public policy before, but we don't often do so. And I certainly wouldn't want us to get into partisan politics. I really wouldn't. And if it's perceived that way, I think that would be unfortunate because we don't want to do that. But I do think it's a policy issue that we are going to face, and I wanted to bring it forward for your consideration.
Well, if the governor doesn't veto it, maybe then we can
We'll
throw in a support for that.
If he doesn't veto it, it will be done.
Right, it would be done.
And it may be done anyway.
Hey, all right, who knows?
Yeah.
But I think we've done pretty good for a whole year. We've all sat here and not allowed politics to take over our decisions
Yeah.
that we've talked about here. And I would like to keep it that way.
Okay. Others? Any other comments?
I'm in agreement with Scott.
Bob, you got anything to say on that? Dan?
No.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks for the opportunity to put that before you. I don't feel any need to push it further. My hope was that it might be a policy that we could all support. So
We can bring it up later.
yeah, and I don't want to
Let's see
create.
what happens.
I don't want to. Please understand, I don't want to bring politics into this board meeting. As you said, we got enough.
Thank you.
Let's move on. We have the general manager report, item 9.
That's me. All right, so past meeting request. Net book value schedule was one of the requests. Matt and I are working with the auditors. The auditors are kind of out straight right now with year-end municipals things, so we will get back to you as timely as possible with the responses to the questions that we were unable to answer. Review of OPEBs to the district retirees, impact on the district. We have contacted Maine PERS and also spoken to the auditors. They're doing their follow-up work, and Maine PERS is tentatively scheduled to visit us. Unfortunately, not until September because of their schedule, but they're going to come over and go over whatever questions the board may have.
So that'll be in our September meeting?
Yes, that is tentatively on the schedule for the September 20-something meeting. I don't have that on me right now. Understanding from RKO, this is Dan's question, why the electricity that is used by KLPD is not expensed. They haven't been able to respond, but that will be followed up on, and we're going to do a specific item for this. Plan regarding the depreciation and asset management. I touched on this is where it was, touched on it a little while ago, but we're organizing and updating the information we have in-house, and this was a J question from the last meeting. We're seeking a qualified firm to work with us to take the information we're gathering and putting into a proper form of depreciation schedule so we can have more accurate numbers. Jay wants to know about pension. Maine PERS is tentatively scheduled for September. Explain the net pension liability going into the future. Once again, September. Clarification in regard to unfunded pension liability. September. I feel bad saying that every time, but Maine PERS is going to address a lot of this. Set up a meeting with the Maine Public Retirement folks and the board. When, Jay?
September.
Thank you.
September, whatever date it is.
Yeah, it is, I can get you
See you
that.
in September.
Well, I hope you're here before then, but September is the 25th. Jay would like to know the budgeted figure for annual post-employment benefits, $9,500 annually, and that is for insurance. That's for life insurance associated with the retirees.
$9,500 a year.
A year.
Is our contribution.
Yes.
To post-employment life insurance benefits.
Yes, through Maine Employees Public Retirement System.
Is that
That's the
per,
aggregate, right?
That's total, yes. I
Total.
didn't get a number. Do you want to know a number of surviving?
I would like to know. I don't know if others would, but I think it would
I
be
believe there
useful
were
to know that.
13 or 14 last, it was
It's
discussed.
insane.
that's pretty cheap.
Hang on. Dan would like to know, Dan would like to know the list of things that were done and the cost of the dams between 79 and 83. We're collecting that information for you. Didn't forget about that. Scott asked if there's a benefit to solar if we participate in Post Road. That's a moot point, so it's not gonna happen. Send the board information in regard to where Asplin has been cutting. They're in West Kennebunk Wells Branch right now in the vicinity of Route 9A and all side roads off of that. They're having a problem with, I've been granted access, but I can't get into their system. They have a GIS system that tracks everything that's been cut, and once the problem with me accessing that link is available, I'll have more information for you on that. Kevin Pizzina, who is the one who works closely with the trimmers, is out on medical leave right now, and he will be for the foreseeable future, so I'm getting access to that so I can give you better updates.
And are we paying them on a monthly or weekly or?
Per mile, and they haven't done any requests yet. It was a $200,000 per year, and
Right.
there were going to be quarterly payments. We haven't had a request yet, so.
For a quarterly payment?
Right, so I've
They haven't
talked to
paid it.
Scott and I've talked to Peter, and they're gonna get back to me and let me know when that's coming.
And we don't know yet how many miles they've done.
I don't have that total at this point.
Yeah.
Status on generator and cost for Dan, total including the generator room and earthwork was $19,000 thus far.
That doesn't include the generator.
That does include the generator,
Alright.
yes.
Wow.
Pension
Good deal.
I'm sorry?
It was a good deal.
Yeah, I think so. Pension info for Scott, we will do that Maine PERS visit in September. Matt had a request, Scott would like a ballpark figure how to increase 90-day cash on hand. That was in the financial forecast, is what the response I have there is. And Jay, where is the district relative to the budget in regard to hydro for the entire year? That was included in the financials as well.
I saw that.
They both were.
Yeah.
So that covers the past meeting board request. America First Hydro Study Plan Visit Summary. I just want to, in that item, so the America First Hydro Study Plan Visit Summary, I want to call your attention to a document that was in the FERC filing for the process of what's going on in the timeline as to what is occurring in the filing for their application or their notice of intent and their pre-application document. Right now, the proposed study plan comments were due by May 22nd. The revised study plan was required to be filed by June 21st, which America First did in fact do. The next deadline is that all stakeholders have to submit their revised study plan comments by July 6th. And then FERC Director's Study Plan Determination is July 21st. Those are the ones that are coming up. I'm working on, right now we have a lot of filings and there's a lot of data in those filings, and we're trying to determine the best way to get all of the filings on our website. But I haven't been able to figure out a way to link it successfully to the FERC website because I've had a lot of troubles with my FERC links not working. So I'm trying to compile the filings by month into one document with a table of contents, but those files are so big that they're taking up a lot of room on the website. So I'm trying to find a way to reduce the size of those files to be able to get everything on the website. But from moving forward, we will put the key, this document, if it's not already on the website, will be there. The study request plan comments will be placed on the website, and we'll keep those up to date as we move forward. It's just getting those large files to stay there and not affect the operability of our website because we're limited to how much information we can have on there. So once we can figure out how to get all that data on the website without having a big drain on the rest of the resources, we will have all that there. It is available in the Dropbox for the board. It's available in hard copies here at the district. And hopefully we'll have it on the website.
But wouldn't it be easier on the website just to give them the email, the address to FERC, you know,
Well,
what you can click on and then bring up the
We
They
report?
can log in themselves.
Right, well, we can do that. I've made that recommendation a few times. That might be the easiest way, is
And
to,
then you're not gonna
I mean,
take
the
up
easiest
both
way
ways.
would be for everybody who's interested to sign up for e-library alerts and get the information on their own, but it doesn't always happen. Sometimes I do have trouble with the links that, when they send me an email, I won't forward it to you until I can actually get that link to work, because a lot of times there's a discrepancy and it won't come up for several hours. So,
Yeah.
well, I believe the link is there. If it's not, we'll make that link available.
At least we should have that, because that's easy to do.
Yes, and that has been emailed in the past. We'll send that out again.
And post it on the website.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we can just get that information out there.
I do think that, I mean, I think that's great.
Yep.
It certainly satisfies the requirement for transparency and access, but it doesn't make it really easy for people. And if you've already done this work, and we're already providing it to the board through the Dropbox, which
Yep.
is not a public access system.
Correct.
If you can figure out, it sounds like you're almost there. If you can't figure out how to put it on our website so that people can access it easily in one place
Just give them the
without
link.
going through FERC, I think that would be a great service. But if we can't, because it's going to bring down our system, or it's too cumbersome, or it's taking too much of your time, I think posting the link is fine.
It's trying to whittle down the size of that PDF file, because if I get, some months there's only 1 or 2 filings, those are no problem. I can combine those and I can get them on the website. But some of those months have several filings, and the size of that file is too big to transfer onto the website. So we're trying to find a happy medium.
Is there a way of
Gonna
making
drag you down.
ratepayer Dropbox?
That's a good question. I can look into that.
Because that thing works good.
Yep, it does work good.
Yeah.
Dropbox or some other option. Yep.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do something
And
like
then we can
that.
just give them the link.
Yeah.
And then go at the end of it.
Yep, let me try that. So they have provided a response that I did send to the board. There was a fairly, well, I wouldn't say a fairly good attendance, because there weren't a lot of the agencies didn't show up for the study plan meeting. But America First has brought their revisions and their comments, and now they wait for FERC to say what, for the agencies, and then for FERC to say what the final requirements are going to be.
Any questions or comments about this FERC process right now? Okay. Thank you for the summary.
When's our meeting next in July?
July 31st.
Yeah, so
So
we'll
it'll be
know what
after
the
that.
director's study plan determination will be.
Yep,
by then.
absolutely.
So we'll be able to look at, maybe have a discussion on that.
And once again, for board members, I send you the link to the e-filing. If you can't open the link, it's also in the Dropbox, because I have sporadic success with that.
I also have, so I think it's great for us to be able to get them easily when we're on.
Yep.
Thank you for doing that, Tom.
No problem. Substation planning update, this is definitely not off the table at all. Mark, Chuck, and I are working with the crew to refine the ask so that we can have a recommendation for the board next month. We got kind of a sideline. Oh, by the way, Ron Franco is a father, so he was out for 2 weeks. He's got a new baby boy named Charlie. And as I said,
Well, congratulations.
I will, and Kevin has been out. I can't disclose why, because it's a HIPAA issue, but we're hoping he'll be back soon. So we're running short-staffed, but we will have this in the July meeting. Mark, Chuck, and I have been trying to work as diligently as possible to have a recommendation to the board.
Before you go on, if I could just interrupt.
Sure.
Quickly. We've had a couple of new members of the public come in since we started the meeting. I don't know that they're aware, and I think they should be aware, that there's a camera over your heads that's videoing the entire proceedings.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's what that glare is.
You could move to another seat. So, just so you know, and I think, Todd, if I could, in the next meeting, if you could
Put a sign up.
post it at the door or somewhere so people
Yeah.
know Fair enough.
I thought of it after.
It's a new procedure.
It is.
Why don't you put a red light on? Like a red light.
There's a red light right, there's a red light right, yeah, on air. Do you have one of those that you might have taken from the studio back in the day?
I never took anything.
That's good to hear.
All right.
You can continue,
On
I'm sorry.
air. Okay, so we covered, substation, Asplund, they'll get more accurate for you once I have that link worked out with their GIS system.
Do you have
They
any
are-
timeline on when you're looking at work startage?
Work startage for?
Substation.
Substation work startage, well, it's in the timeline for, the goals for this year is to have a plan together by the end of this fiscal year, or the end of the calendar year. So that'll be
December 31st.
Yeah, December 31st, so that we would begin. They've been doing surveying, we have the idea of what's gonna happen on the earthwork. It'll be getting the engineering together, and we're looking, beginning of next year would be when we'd start moving.
So the dates we approved were approval of a plan, project plan by September of this year, out to bid November, December, and then proceed.
Will Ross Road be done, or will they even be, or what's going on? I know we're not on here, but
Yeah, right now I don't have an answer to that, it may likely all work in conjunction, all as one project, to be able to get the most cost effectiveness for the district.
because wouldn't it be better to have, sorry to take this off,
That's
but
what
wouldn't it
it's
be better to put Ross Road in the mix and have it completed, and then you've got a lot of load off of this end
Yep.
before you start your project?
Absolutely. If we can get our ducks to line up, then that would be what we did. We started the conversation on Ross Road and the Mill Street job when we were having a lot of problems. Well, at least it came to the forefront. We were having a lot of problems with squirrels. Unfortunately, knock on wood, squirrels and trees have kind of gone by the wayside. Crew's been changing out any metal standoff brackets to fiberglass. We've been putting critter guards on everything, and the critter complaints have gone down considerably. But in order to build that properly, in the design, we need to know how much load we'll be able to pull, how much load we need to reduce off that substation to be able to build it as compactly as possible. So that would all come, and then if it's required, there is a requirement that we pull 2 amps off of there or 50 amps off of there, then we can design it that way so that we can do it all at once. So unless the engineer can say, roll this winter, and then we can bring a sub in and do that work. But we've also been thrown a curveball from the town that they're planning on doing Summer Street, and we've got about 40 poles that we'll need to move there. So it's a dynamic plan for the fall and the winter, depending on when the town decides they want to nail that project.
So that was the project that we just voted on as far as what roads are gonna be done.
Correct, yeah.
And,
But the
there's a lot of the
summer,
roads affected besides Summer Street.
yeah. Yeah, well, Summer Street's the biggest one for us because the right-of-way isn't where the road is, and there's a lot of repositioning of that. The right-of-way is going to shift quite a bit, and it's about a half dozen poles that need to be moved 6
And
or
would
more
that be
feet.
done in-house or contracted?
That would be done in-house. Yeah. That can be done in-house. Ross Road would need to be subcontracted. Mill Street would need to be subcontracted, as will the substation.
Thank you.
So you're gonna get something together by next meeting?
Yes,
A
absolutely.
recommendation on the substation?
Yep, absolutely, I have, you'll find that the last item tonight is gonna be something new for you. But that's just preview of coming attractions. So FEMA, it's about 15,000 is where they landed on reimbursement. Our application is complete, now we just await the check. There will be
So that'll
about,
gain us a half day.
right, yeah, right, yeah,
day.
about a half a day.
That's not too good.
Got our cash.
Well,
You gotta start.
we had to do the work anyway, so we can pay a half day. But we did,
That's great.
we're fortunate on that.
So you got 15K out of that?
15K, yes.
So you should have mentioned that way before in the meeting.
So the hydro operations, the hydros have not been operating because of the water levels, as well as because we are looking for a hydraulic pump for Dane Perkins. We've been working with Ron Rule and the Hope Group. It's a Parker pump. It is apparently very few and far between. We've determined that we need a 4-bolt base, not a 2-bolt base. There's a lot of intricacies of what's going on with this pump. Once we've located the pump, we can put the pump back in. We've also looked into changing the entirety of the motor and pump to try to avoid delays. I don't have an answer because Wayne's been out sick and Ron is pretty darn busy, but I'll keep you updated via email when we find out more about that. When we have the pump, we will change the oil. This isn't a stall tack, it is a pump that's crapped out on us, and Ron and his crew can't find one right now.
And you can't change the oil even though,
Well, we could change the oil, but we can't operate because of that pump.
but at least you get the oil changed.
Yeah. Once Wayne, that is, so I know it sounds like I've been making excuses after excuse, but we've got, so with this pump being offline, what happened was Wayne was allocated to pull in some big subdivisions. Those are all pulled in. When he comes back from being sick, if it's not me, it'll be one of the crew that'll be dedicated to do the oil changes at the 3 sites, and then await the pump.
So,
And
so the pump's not holding us up.
Yeah.
we can still change the oil, it's just the pump's holding us up from operating. Pump is, the hydraulic pump for the governor is necessary before we can bring it back up.
If everything were functional, is there enough water to operate that day?
There is not a lot of water right now, so we would be draining impoundments if we were running anywhere. And where Dane Perkins isn't passing water downstream, Twine Mill and Kesselin are affected by that as well. One of the cedar poles has been removed at Kesselin Dam. The one that was dangling over the edge. The digger derrick, which pulls that out, went offline after it did that. They changed a solenoid today, so the truck's back. And so now the digger derrick will go back and pull that other one back. So there's one that's still kind of leaning over the top. The one that was hanging is gone. Once they pull that back, Wayne and crew can get in there, fix the boards, and that'll be done. So it's the season of maintenance, and they're getting it from me left and right. Like, maybe that's why they call in sick, but
I'm sure that's not the case.
I'm sure that's not the case. There's been some funky stuff going on in the community that I'm aware of. So we're working on getting those boards replaced. The boards at Dayton Perkins have been replaced, and all of the debris, the big stump at Twine Mill, has also been removed. We had the crane come in and take care of that.
I was walking the dog this morning. I noticed that the whole fleet was going up Fletcher Street at 6:30 in the morning.
This morning?
Oh,
Yeah, they were all,
yeah.
we had to do a shutdown at, they did a shutdown of the southbound turnpike entrance to energize the Tesla stations that are gonna go online tomorrow.
Okay.
So that's what that was doing.
Scott, did you have something?
Yeah, you might want to check online with Cunningham Hydraulics.
Cunningham. Think,
And up in Portland, there is another hydraulics company. I want to say it's
Portland Hydraulics, we've tried them.
Yeah,
Yep.
but Cunningham Hydraulics is worldwide, and they're out of New York. They could be out of Boston.
We had luck in Texas when we had a problem, so Ron is looking for this company in Texas that was able to find us a valve that we couldn't get anywhere else. So we're on the hunt, and hopefully we'll come across one, so. Old equipment, okay.
Do you
so
have any model and serial number?
I can get,
I'll talk to you
absolutely.
later.
Give me a call, stop by tomorrow or give me a call tomorrow. Solar array progress report is the last item on my general manager's report. Let's see, the interconnection study. Due to the permitting related design changes, they're changing the inverters to SunGrow 125 kilowatt, and a number of transformers. The number of transformers have gone to 3 to 2 as compared to what was proposed at the time of the interconnection study. So a new study will be coming. They've been through the DEP. It was determined that there need to be 4 individual arrays because of wetland streams and other obstacles. So they're revising their final plan. They're meeting this was on Friday. So next week, they'll be meeting with the main DEP to confirm and submit their permit applications. And then they will go to the town and they'll be requesting approval conditioned upon DEP permits when they go to the town. So next area is moving. I asked Mattoon point blank, end of 2018, and he honestly thinks even with these kind of delays that are going on, that they can have it up and running at the end of 2018. So that's still the goal.
Specifics again, they're going to 2 transformers now.
Yes.
Are they going to be the same size transformers, or?
I don't have the spec sheet yet, but when I have that, I'll send a copy to you.
Because then that's really limiting
Yeah.
us in the future.
Yeah, they're revising their phase one plan drawings, and when I have those, I'll send them to you so you can see
I'm
what's
sorry,
going on.
Scott, you said they're eliminating, what's being?
The number of
eliminated?
transformers.
They had 3 transformers.
Now it's 2.
Yeah.
Now it goes to 2, and maybe those 3 transformers were just a little oversized. And now you go to 2, and you got
I believe,
transformers just giving you enough power.
yeah, I think they're
What's there? So
upsizing.
later on in the future, if we want to change out and get higher, energy cells, we'd have to change the transformers, and that's your cost.
They would have to.
They'd
but-
have to.
This is what we learned up in Madison.
Yep.
Was that they put the biggest transformer they could up there.
Planning to expand.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, so it's a good question, because I also thought that they had, in fact, our contract has the opportunity to discuss upsizing.
Correct.
You would think they would want to install in such a way
Well,
that they're-
initially it was just, because I asked this question before, and they said,
Well,
it is what it is. you know.
Correct, but they,
Now we got 2 transformers, so are we getting the same amount of cells and pulling out the same amount of power? So it seems to me that they've got to either give us bigger transformers, or they're really pushing the limit.
We'll make sure they're not doing that to the engineers. They're
That's
in the
their problem.
interconnection study.
Yes.
That's their problem, exactly.
all right. And then there's a contract revision update in that same item.
Yeah,
There's an
the-
amendment being negotiated to clarify the pricing provision.
That is correct. That is being drafted. I didn't have a copy as of today. I would assume by next meeting I'll have all of that language approved so that I can come to the board to get authorization to sign off, making the solar energy that we purchased first through the meter with no discrepancies between the spot market price. It'll be a straight first through the meter, which is not what the current contract states.
Right, which was the intent of the contract, and which our attorney assured us was going to be
Yes.
the case. So,
And did not, in fact,
and you're not
turn out to be
getting
the
any pushback. Nextera understands that.
Absolutely.
And wants to make it clear.
Absolutely.
So I think it would be a high priority to get that done, but
Definitely.
yeah, I know you're working on it. Thank you. Any other questions about the solar array or the contract? Great. We're on to the strat plan. It's come back to us.
It is back to haunt you. What I've done, I haven't pulled the whole fleshed out strat plan. I have the topics in the document.
So this wasn't in the Dropbox.
This was not in the Dropbox.
We're going to look at your starting point here, and
Well, what I
this will come
have,
back to us again in a future
it
meeting.
will hopefully come back to you by the next meeting if I can get comments from you folks. What I was looking for, and what I did is I dissected and digested and redigested everything that was stated in the meetings, or anything that, in my opinion, as the drafter of this document, that rose to a priority level in the strat plan conversations. What I have here is the mission that I haven't changed, because there was several mentions of the mission not changing, so that's where I was, my starting point. I've inserted values, a vision, which I kind of fleshed out to try to gather some response, short-term and long-term strategic objectives. I placed things in here because I want if not now, I want a response from board members that says, absolutely not, that doesn't belong there, absolutely that belongs there, this doesn't go far enough, that doesn't go far enough.
Are you
I'll
referring
call-
to
I'll
a specific section or the whole rest of it?
Let's go to long-term, Jay, and I'm gonna call you out on it because you didn't shy away from the conversations you had. Set and implement sustainable energy percentage goals. That is a long-term strategic objective. Some board members may think that's unnecessary, some board members think 5 years, some board members think 2050. So I'm hoping to get feedback, and I apologize for not getting this sooner with everything else that was going on. I needed to figure out how to get the information to board members to elicit a reaction if there's going to be one.
And this is short and sweet.
It
so-
is short and sweet.
Should be able-
The actual document won't be as short and sweet. I'm gonna try to keep it as succinct as possible. I think my attempt is going to be to have a 2 or 4 page document with supporting documentation that will go with it. So that somebody's got a cut sheet and can say, yes, this is what the district wants to do, this is what our future looks like, And then if there's further questions, I'll have the supporting information available.
So are you looking for comments between now and the next meeting, or in the next 2 weeks from
I'm
the board?
hoping within the next 2 weeks.
And then you'll come back with a real draft?
Then I'll come back with a real draft.
It's a little difficult to speak to
I
you
don't
tonight.
mean to
We
speak
just-
to you
we
on the
just got
spot. I should have gotten
No, it's okay.
it sooner.
It's moving
Unfortunately,
forward.
I did not. So we have a draft of the topics that were considered, and there was a lot of information there. I had to kind of meld things that were similar, and then from here, I'll take this on a road that will refine the 1 through 5 year, refine the 5 through 20 year, and then we'll begin to implement policies and strategies that will allow us to succeed.
Okay.
Can you email this to us?
Sure, absolutely. It's
And then I can look at it, or others can look at it. And what I'll do is I'll just put, whether it's 5 or 10.
Yep, that's perfect.
Each item.
Great.
and it will. I'll put it in the Dropbox. If is that easier than emailing, or would you rather have an email?
I don't have an email.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'll take one too.
Why don't you do it for all of us and make it consistent?
And you want this within 2 weeks?
I would like it, yes, so that I have time to get it
So by
into the.
September, July 15th,
Yes.
oh, July 10th, I'll call it,
That's good.
completed, okay.
Jay, you were gonna say
I was
something?
going to ask a question.
Okay.
So back when we started this process, one of the things we did was we established sort of a procedure for getting to the final plan. And one of the things that I feel we haven't really done yet is to solicit feedback on a plan from our customers and, in some way.
That's included in here.
Okay.
So what I was.
Because we don't want to approve a final plan
No.
before we've gotten that feedback from other stakeholders.
That's why I want a draft from the board to discuss with commercial industrial customers, residents, and municipal customers on the preliminary draft plan, so that we're not just talking,
You said that's in here.
Now-
Yeah, it is in here.
So you're gonna send out a survey of some sort? What's the cost of it? I'm just curious.
I don't know what the cost would be, and I don't know if we'll mail out a survey. We've got to determine. I'd rather have focus groups and meet one-on-one with certain individuals. But in here, it's engage the commercial industrial customers regarding needs and expectations, and engage the residential and municipal customers regarding their needs and expectations. So that's part of that process.
In the short term.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways we could do it.
Well, those are the easy, that I can.
It'll be hard to meet with
face to face.
Yeah.
But for the regular residents,
Survey Monkey, or we can
We can put something in our
develop some sort
bills,
of.
we could have a link in our bills and people could go to the
yeah,
website.
that would be
and fill out a
great.
survey.
Maybe 5 questions or something to the residents.
Yeah.
Or the customers,
And we could reference them to the plan on the website. Most people have internet.
and they could always just maybe put in a comment.
Yeah.
What's the number one priority in there? What they see.
Yeah.
That's good, I'm glad it's in there. I didn't get a chance to look at this, obviously, but Duffy, several meetings ago, you were raising concerns about our relationship or communication with one or more commercial customers, I think. And this is a great opportunity to ask all our customers, and group them by category, how are we meeting your needs? How could we better meet your needs? Are we, for companies, how are we helping you to grow? What could we do better?
Right. Yeah.
And reference a strat plan.
Feedback.
And there are additional conversations that I'd like to have that I plan to have with those commercial industrial customers in regard to moving forward with a RFP for energy procurement, and to try to find a threshold that's lower than the current threshold to be an industrial customer, to try to save some of our commercial customers some money. So,
Great. Well, thanks for getting this to us. Unless there's further comments, we can comment between now and 2 weeks from now, and we'll have a discussion next meeting.
and this should have been in my general manager's report, but the plan now is going to be, and we'll have public comment, and then I'll roll this out in another agenda item, but in your packet, you will now begin to get a proposed draft agenda for the next meeting. Right now, you have a July draft agenda here that I left on the table. Moving forward, items that I know are going to be on the agenda for the following month will be added to the agenda for the current month. So at the.
You got me a little confused. You gave us next month's draft agenda?
Yeah, there's a
already?
draft agenda at the bottom of your packet for July. So this is typically something that is board recommendations, but we don't typically get a lot of recommendations out of it, so this just to tickle your
Fantastic.
ivories and see.
And then if we have issues, we can raise them
And-
now or later.
What I'd like to do is, I know I've fallen into a pattern for 10 years now to get it out Friday. Because in my mind, people don't work on the weekend.
But we
So,
know.
my plan is now going to be to get this to you tentatively at the meeting we're at, and then 2 weeks ahead of time to have another, if there's any revisions to that. Occasionally, there will be items that will be needed to be added at the last minute, but items will be updated in the Dropbox with the contents. So if we've got 90% of an agenda and then Wednesday before a meeting I have items I need to add, the agenda will be revised and the only additional information to look at will be what's.
So we'll already have
You'll
most
have
of the
everything
agenda
else.
and all of the
Yes.
documents that we need to read.
Yes.
Well before the meeting.
Yep.
That's great. Thank you for taking that comment to heart, Tom.
You're welcome.
I think it's really important to board members to have enough time to read this stuff. And most of our stuff is not such an emergency that we can't do it ahead of time. It's just a matter of timing.
If I might use the boys' room before public comment period.
Sure, let's take a break. 1 minute. Or two.
Long time,
That's a good idea.
10 minutes ahead.
Indeed. Even with all my chatter. Are you in the picture, Bill, or are you just looking at the picture?
I haven't been in the picture in a long time, Chad, you know it, buddy.
I won't comment. We do hear a lot from you, though.
You do, heaven forbid, I'm a better man than I am.
How's the work schedule been, Bob? You been cut out straight? Oh.
A lot
Yes.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, plenty.
Yeah.
Well, with this good weather, you get a lot of work done and get tired about 8 o'clock right now, right?
Yep.
I was the same here.
How's the restaurant?
I'm beat.
Nothing going on in the restaurant.
Pretty quiet. All right.
Any help? I got plenty of hope.
Our break is over.
All right.
We have item 12, which is the public comment period, limited to 15 minutes. And we do this in every meeting, and members of the public are here today, so if anybody would like to raise a point or a question, comment with us, now's the time. Howard?
Yeah, Albert Golf. I understand that in new subdivisions, we require underground utilities, is that correct?
The town requires underground utilities.
Town requires underground.
Yes.
You raised the issue about Summer Street removing the poles.
Yes.
Does that
That doesn't
do
go in.
anything about underground?
Does not. It's not a new subdivision.
Oh, I know that.
But, and so that would be a very large undertaking that I don't believe the town has anticipated in there. We haven't anticipated, we haven't been requested of it. DOT specs don't show it. So that conversation hasn't happened.
Okay, just a question.
I was going to suggest you just put historic-looking poles on Summer Street, and I think it'd be fun. No.
So now that we're on video, if please identify yourselves for the public.
Ward Hanson. My other question is concerning communication on the timeline of the solar project, because we hear a lot of talk about it. I think there's an awful lot of people that have a strong interest in solar power. So do you put a flyer in with the bills? Do you put something just to kind of give people an idea where this process is, where it's going, and when they can expect to?
We can
To put it on the website.
We can definitely put it on the website. We can send a email blast through the website if you're subscribed to that. If not, we can give a rough timeline. I could put it on there so that people know
I just think
what to
there's probably a lot of
expect.
people would like to know in town.
Absolutely.
And one other question about the strategic plan, I'm guessing, is the whole idea to come up with goals as far as what percentage of energy comes from this, that, and then by what dates, or is it?
There's a potential for that. That's one of the considerations that was raised, and it'll give us the framework to make those decisions. So if the board says, yes, we want to have 95% renewable by 2050 or something like that, we would begin to work toward that end goal through the board.
We did a pretty broad process.
Yes.
And it covered a lot more than that subject, although that was one of probably 20. And so we're looking at, long distance into the future, what's the market going to look like? What do the regulations look like that might affect us? How do we fulfill our mission? What's the status of our equipment? What capital upgrades are we going to need to make? How can we build for redundancy and maybe smart grid into the future? Even such questions as how much more electricity might get used because people are switching to electric cars and electric heat pumps and so on. So it's pretty broad, and I think once you see it, your comments will be really
From my
helpful.
understanding with the dams and the solar and all, I'm guessing at the moment we're getting about 98% is being purchased and 2% or less is from the dams. And if you go to solar, it's 95 and 5. What is the breakup for CMP? I'm concerned about diversity of sources. We've got all our eggs in one basket. And when you look at all the things that can happen with the Middle East and uprisings and whatever, do you have any idea how CMP, do they purchase, for example, a lot of hydro from Hydro-Quebec, or I'm just...
No, we are all required in the state of Maine, as a municipal, we're required 30% renewables. As an investor owned, it's 40% renewables, and everybody pretty much purchases off the same slate of renewable energy credits. So there is a lot of, in New England, even though we're very far away from the Midwest, there's a lot of solar, from New England and south of New England that is shipped in to cover the renewables. There's a lot of wind power. Nuclear is considered zero carbon neutral energy that can go towards that. So we do have a breakdown on our website for us of what our percentages are. 55% fossil fuel, I believe. That breakdown is there. We have different requirements because consumer owns and investor owns have different standards. But right now it is, I think, the majority of it is covered by retiring renewable energy credits. So those electrons may not actually make it here, but we're committed to those electrons. So through the mix, we're required to have that percentage of renewables. So there is a very diverse array of sources that make up the energy that we purchase.
Our bottleneck would be our two substations.
Yes.
And right now, neither of them can service the whole town.
Yep.
So you could, there are certain things, we've all discussed some of the issues of reliability, and that would be one of them, is that we would prefer to see more redundancy in our system.
If one of our substations go, are we talking about a catastrophe for weeks or months,
No,
or what?
it would be bad.
It wouldn't be weeks or months, it would be some downtime. We have,
Well, you can rent.
right, we could get portable substations that we bring in to get us back up and running, and then
Because I've heard discussion that it's a critical item, and I just,
we're monitoring very closely what's going on. We're reallocating circuits to make sure that transformers aren't overloaded, and very daily monitoring what's going on. But I wouldn't say it's a critical incident item at the moment. We're keeping the maintenance and the monitoring going constantly. West Kennebunk substation, we're not really.
No problem.
Okay, just one quick question. You mentioned early on, if the water comes up that high, is the upgrade, I mean, does that have to be upgraded there? That isn't something, it'd be cost prohibitive to be in another location?
It has to be there, but we are taking into consideration elevating above the BFE and base flood elevations and all of the flood maps to get out of that danger zone to the best of our ability. But yes, because of where the CMP tie line comes in and where all of our assets leave from there, it has to be in that general vicinity for cost.
Thank you. And I'd just like to say, Albert, thanks for coming and running a great campaign.
Thank you.
I think it brought a lot more information to the public.
I learned a lot.
So we all did. And I'm glad you're here. So, seeing no further public comment, we're on to the last item, which is recommendations for the next meeting. And I would like to piggyback just really briefly on Ward's comment. I do think that it would be good to have an agenda item at some point this year about sort of reassessing where we are with our public communication. How's the website working for us? What about a newsletter? We haven't done one in a while. I just got one from Kennebunk, what is this, sewer district. It's pretty nice and covers their stuff. And I actually read it, so it was working for me. You know, there's a lot of things going on. There's still the dams that require updates. We've certainly got upgrades going on within our system, the substation being another example. The strategic plan, I mean, we really have quite a few things going on. And I think it's very we feel good, I think, that we're putting a lot of stuff on the web. And we're responsive when people ask you. But I think it's difficult for members of the public to really understand what's going on. If they just want to look for, well, what's the summary of where are we with the dams? What's the summary of where are we? So I'm not proposing anything except that we have a conversation about it and think, are we really serving the public well? Because we've upgraded so much and a lot more work being done on public communications than ever before. And
I think it would help the public, there's a lot of animosity out there, might show that you are working on it. You're taking the stumps out, you're repairing, people don't know that. And if you put it on YouTube, like...
Well, I was just going to
this
say,
is a great
I don't know if
we got the video.
Jay's lived here long enough to remember Fred Nutter.
Sure.
So we're going to have a president's moment, and weekly you'll do a little... That's our opinion, we will, and you'll do as the president, you'll be required to broadcast the
Really?
script.
Is that part, you put that in the
We're
bylaws?
gonna put that in the bylaws.
Just like the town manager
Yeah,
does.
exactly.
You can do hand puppets.
Who's gonna do the makeup?
Yes, that's it. Romper room.
They would be woefully misinformed if they relied upon,
Yes, we will get
but I think we
much
should talk
better
about
at.
it.
Yes.
That's all.
I mean, you took out a log, I mean, if you just had a small
Yep.
video on you guys working out there, doing it safely,
Yep.
showing that we are trying to do the work we're trying to maintain.
Can that camera come off easily?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We use it.
Yep,
Go shoot.
absolutely. We'll put little
And we have
blurbs
a
out
camera?
There you go.
there. We do.
All right. Any other comments about what we should be doing in our upcoming meetings? Seeing none, we need a motion to adjourn.
Oh wait,
Oh,
Please do
I forgot.
I just
Oh,
want to
your
give you.
recommendations.
Yeah, the board recommendations, I just want to draw your attention. I'll be remiss if I don't do this. I'd like to draw your attention to an agenda item. Oh gosh, that's bad. Agenda item 13 for the next meeting is that there's a conflict of interest, conflict with the last week of August because the general manager's getting married. So
Really? Congratulations.
I would be remiss if I didn't put that on.
You should tell us that.
video.
Get that right.
So.
I hope you get a lot of cards and gifts.
Don't we have to vote?
Very clever.
We're doing
Vote on
another
that,
vote, or
that's
we
right.
just keep everything for another year, or what?
What's that?
Whether he gets to get
Vote
married
for
or not.
offices.
Oh, no, that comes next meeting. So,
Right.
yeah.
Is that on there?
Actually, no, I didn't put that on there.
I
Good
didn't
call,
think it
Scott.
was.
Election of officers will be on there. But I'm planning to have a meeting with Alec Miller, Drummond Woodsum for the board roles and responsibilities refresher, a meeting with Todd Grissett of Pretty Flaherty to give a FERC update. There'll be minutes, there'll be financials, there'll be purchasing policy that I'm going to propose to the board that was recommended by the auditors.
Good.
Engineering services, another draft of the strategic plan, and at that next meeting, we'll have to bring our calendars to see, because I know, Jay, you've got some conflicts last week of August. I'm not here.
I mean, summer is a difficult time.
Yeah, so we'll have to work that out. There may not be a meeting, and there may be 2 in September instead of 1 in August, but we'll have that conversation. And then you can motion away to adjourn if you'd like.
I have
Nope, go ahead.
a couple of things.
Okay,
One is streetlights.
okay.
I think I asked this once before, and you mentioned that, I know the police department used to do it years ago,
Yeah.
years and years ago. We'd go around and look at night to see what streetlights are and report back.
Yep.
And I think you had mentioned that,
Mark and Elaine and do that as do I. We keep a log of what's going on. The police don't do it anymore. We do it in-house.
okay, good. I just noticed on the High Street, there's a whole string of them
Oh,
out, right around 99. Probably like 3 in a row. As
Okay.
they're coming up High Street onto
99 High Street, like near,
High Street and 99.
oh, okay, yep.
So
All right, we'll do that.
that whole area is dark.
Okay.
So I didn't know what we were doing to
We
check
actually,
street lights or how we
yeah,
were doing it.
like I said, Mark, Elaine, whoever's on call, people typically, Blake Baldwin's really good at it, and we have a lot of customers that go around and check. But that's something that would go well on the website, is to check for streetlights.
Yeah.
But High Street, was there another section? Or
No,
is that-
that's, I
okay.
just, because I come home late at night
Yep,
I didn't notice it.
every night of the week, yeah, if you,
that High Street's got darker.
yeah, if you notice them and don't mind, just shoot me a text or, but yeah, we'll,
I usually travel the same road every day in
it's,
and out.
yeah, it's easier for them because when they're going home at 3:30 in the wintertime, all the lights are on.
Right.
But this time of year, they have to do, the on-call people will go out and do some shifts, so.
So, you gonna put it into the website? Like-
Yeah, I'll do a notice to say, hey, folks, we're looking for a little help.
See a street light out?
See a
let us
street
know.
light
Let us know.
Let us know. Yep.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Yep.
It is.
Yes.
And the other one, you had another,
Where are we in the process for our contract for 2020 with NextEra or whoever Power?
we're identifying available bidders, and we will go, that's in the goals. Jay, you had the goals, I didn't
I
grab
put
my
them away.
copy, but that is,
You have it scheduled.
it is scheduled for this year. We're working on, right now, identifying who would bid our type of load, and then other types of loads that we could get more bidders on. So we're moving forward to develop the RFP so that we can
You
send
said
that out.
final decision on RFQ by August 2018. That's next
2 months
month
away.
after next.
Yep.
Should a decision be made to end the contract with NextEra, work with a consultant to identify bidders for full requirement service contract by October, issue bid by December, final decision by June of 2019.
But historically, hasn't NextEra been pretty good?
Yes.
They have been good to us since 2008. So, and they were waiting for elections. They wait for elections and then they're gonna come back and say, okay, here's our last ditch effort, cause they're continuously willing to bring us pricing. So they wait till after the elections cause things can get upset at election time, new boards, new ideas. So they'll be coming back with another proposal prior to decision of whether or not we want to extend or we want to go break away. But I want to know who's out there first.
You didn't get a consultant, did you?
I do have a consultant out of Massachusetts that is looking at who would bid on our load right now.
Who else would do it?
Yeah, who else would bid?
Because it's not a big field, right?
Right now, it's not. But we've identified 3 so far.
Well, that's more than one.
Right.
And for the amount of load and money.
Exactly. Keep them on us.
That's good.
Yeah, I just don't want to lose track of that
Yeah, nope,
because
absolutely not.
2020 is going to come really quick and I want to have this locked in well before 2020.
In that regard, I think when we approved these goals at a prior meeting, you indicated that you would, I think monthly, but maybe it was quarterly, I can't remember what you said.
Quarterly.
Quarterly, that you would put that on the agenda and we would review where we are with each one of our major goals. Because we did a lot of work to get those goals. Let's make sure we look back at them and see if we're on schedule. So quarterly would be the traditional first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter of the calendar year.
They didn't get approved till March, so.
No, I know.
But,
No, I'm
yes,
not putting any
we're-
pressure on
No,
this.
I'm
I'm just saying, it's our job to review those.
Yep.
regularly.
I can bring those
It's
at
your
the next
job to
meeting.
make sure it's on the agenda.
Yep.
Because we did, you know,
Oops, wrong one.
We
did
do
some-
lose track of them now.
we do, it's easy to, we have to go back and look at it or we'll forget. And there's some important things in there, like our power contract. Yeah.
That's all I had.
Thank you, Doug. Others? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
A second?
Aye.
Aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Board.
Yeah, that's great. Are these the